Welcome back to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have is the Kajiwara Awagami or Blue number 1 Santoku 165mm knife. So the way these are constructed, the core hard cutting edge steel down the middle is Awagami Blue Paper number 1 reactive high carbon steel. Number 1's a little bit more unusual, but it's a very good steel, just as the other Awagami steels are. The heat treat's around 62 Rockwell on that core steel. And then what we've got is a traditional soft iron reactive cladding, so the whole blade is reactive. On either side of that core steel, you can see that kind of sandblasted finish on the blade grind, and then you can see the core steel there and the shiny edge bevel itself. This has a lacquer finish on it on top of what's known as a kurouchi or blacksmith finish. So you can see that color. Again, it's got a food-safe lacquer finish, so it's really shiny, and that will either wear off normally with use, or you can get some acetone and just strip it off right off the bat if you wanted to do that. Your choice. The weight and dimensions on these are going to vary a little bit from knife to knife. Weight on this one's 133 grams or 4.7 ounces, and the edge length is right about 170, which is 6.7 inches. The overall length is 310 millimeters. And the spine thicknesses on this style of blade will definitely vary. These are fairly thick coming out of the handle. So I got 3.7 millimeters. You know, you'll get 3.5 probably at least at the back here. And then they thin down pretty quick. You can see how quickly they thin down, like boom, right about there they start getting pretty thin. And then this one, kind of about 2.2 halfway down. And then it retains pretty much about that same thickness. And then you can see it doesn't thin up till you get to the grind. So the grind towards the edge starts here. This side's a little bit higher than that side. And then you can see it thins out towards the very tip. Gets fairly thin. Here's the profile, or I should say choil shot. You can see that it's not quite a 50-50 grind coming down. It's a little bit different on left side versus right side, shape-wise. The blade height, let's look at that. 46.1 millimeters, what I got at the heel on this one. And then the handles are just a well-crafted kind of a handle you see very commonly on blades, which is an oval, a rosewood main part with a black packawood ferrule. Really nice fit and finish on this. It's very smooth all the way through where the junction is between the two woods. And nice tight glue up where the tang goes in. Just good fit and finish all around. You know, so it's oval, so it's ambidextrous. The circumference where the two materials meets about 75 millimeters, about 3 inches. Pretty standard size handle. Balance point on this with that handle is about right there, so just in front of the choil, which is the back of the blade right here. There's not a big long spot, and this will vary from knife to knife, but there's enough to kind of get your finger in there, depending on how big your fingers are, for a pinch grip. So it handles well with the pinch grip. Let's get a close-up kind of standard look at it here. Yeah, a little hard to figure out where we want that to show up, but let's try that. Show a little texture there. So fit and finish is done well on these. They have a little bit of relief to the corners on the spine. They've done some filing and relief on the choil and to the neck on both sides. The right side of the blade is done a little bit more than the left side of the blade, which is pretty normal. It looks like hand chiseled kanji, hand engraved kanji, which is a nice, really nice touch. It's becoming a little bit less common these days. You can see that the finish, it's shiny, but it's got some texture. You can see the hammer marks. You can definitely see the hammer marks there. So every knife's going to be different. This has a lot of rustic appeal to it. And again, every one is going to be different. Let's see if we can get you that. So that's about, best I can do. You can really see those hammer marks coming through there. So these are all quite unique. You know, you can definitely see hand hammering at work there, pounding it out, putting a shape to it and so on. So that's a real appeal on this style of blade, is everyone is going to be unique. There's some embossed kanji on the left side of the blade. And then you've got the Kasumi, kind of faux Kasumi finisher, the sandblasted finish, I believe, and then your edge steel. I'd say this was maybe a 5 out of 10 on the edge out of the box. Sometimes the lacquer can also come down to the edge, so even if you're not going to take the lacquer off, you should probably sharpen it up just to clean it up a little bit and clean that off. Here is the edge profile. So this has a slightly unique shape, and every knife's going to be a little different, but it's got a fairly long snout to it, or sheep's foot tip, and then it goes really low. So it is kind of a gentle curve, but you can see it's quite low at the tip. So this is not going to be a rocker. I mean, I'm starting to dig in like right there. Right there, it's starting to dig in, unless you want to kind of shape the tip a little bit. When you sharpen it, upsweep the last couple millimeters, but there's what your profile looks like. So it's a very low, overall amount of curve, but it's all curve, so if that makes sense. So this should actually chop reasonably well. It should be awesome on draw cuts, because you don't have to lift it very high to do draw cuts on things, so it should be great at that. Push-pull cuts, glide cuts, I would not consider it a rocker in style, but very interesting knife, and just lots of handcrafted character to it. Again, it's an all-reactive blade. So this is the Kajiwara Awagami or Blue No. 1 Santoku 165mm knife.